Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode corporate mumbo jumbo. Today we're diving into a proxy statement, which might sound dry, but trust me, it's like peeking into a company's playbook before the big game. Imagine knowing all the secret strategies ahead of time of corporate documents. Make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below, so join us. The annual meeting, we're talking about directors, auditors, and some changes to their rule book. Sounds boring, right? But these things impact how the company is run and ultimately whether it's successful. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below, so join us. First off, let's set the stage. This annual meeting is happening in September of next year. Stockholders get to weigh in on some pretty important stuff. It's all happening online, which is pretty standard these days. The first big vote is about who gets to sit on the board of directors. They need to elect 7 people to keep operations going. These directors are like the captains of the ship, making the big decisions, so choose wisely. Next, they need to give the thumbs up to their accounting firm, Deloitte and Touche LLP. Now, you might ask why we need to vote for this. Well, auditors make sure the company's financial statements are on the up and up and make sure there are no scandals. So yeah, no need to vote for Enron's accountant. They're also asking stockholders to tweak 5 different rules or provisions in their company charter, basically their guiding document. These changes seem to be to satisfy the state of Washington's regulators, ensuring better alignment with standard REIT industry rules. They mention the NASA REIT guidelines, which aims to make sure real estate investment trusts, REITs play fair and don't mislead investors. The company claims that they don't expect those amendments to majorly hurt or help any of the stockholders. Now for some numbers. There are about 2,083,009 million shares that matter for voting. So if you own shares on what they call the record date, you get a say. The way the votes work is pretty standard. To get elected, you need an actual majority that says yes. If people don't vote or go blank, it will count as a node 4. Things like naming the auditor, a simple majority of the votes cast seals the deal. But for the changes in the charter, you need a majority of all the votes that could be cast, meaning not voting counts as a vote against. They hired Broadridge Financial Solutions to help get these votes counted. It's costing them about $5,000 plus some extra costs. They introduced the nominees for the board: Jeffrey Hines, David Steinbach, Laura Hines Pierce, John Neiman, Dougal Cameron, Ruth Simmons, Diane Patterson. Some of those names seems to be deeply related to the main firms, while others seem independent. Digging deeper in the qualifications of each might be important to make an informed decision. Moving on to how the company is run or corporate governance, they have a bunch of committees, and if they don't mention independent directors or directors, it's a bad sign. Let's see. Audit committee looks over the money, deals with the auditors, and tries to make sure everything's legal. Nominating and Corporate Governance Committee finds new board members and makes sure the company is behaving itself. Conflicts Committee untangles any messes where the company's interests might clash with those of the people in charge. Compensation Committee figures out how much the big bosses get paid. Valuation Committee makes sure the price of a stock is accurate. They got a code of ethics, that's great, in writing at least. Okay, here is an important sign. They do specify what independent director means, which aims to prevent directors marrying into the firm. To be independent, the person cannot have association with Hines or the advisor. Now let's dig into the director compensation table, because you need to know what goes on. Looking at the numbers, the independent directors rake in between $122,500 and $118.27 each year. Not bad at all. It pays to be independent. And here we see that the insiders such as Jeffrey Hines, David Steinbach, or Laura Hines Pierce were not paid director salaries. Makes sense. Important note, the filing says clearly that the company has no employees. The company day-to-day is managed by the advisor company. Let's see if we can find what that advisor is. Okay, so the official advisor is Good Advisors LP, but who really controls the advisor? Bingo, Jeffrey Hines, okay? And he's also, and I quote, CEO and the chairman of our board of directors. Yeah, good luck keeping him independent. Okay, so the advisor is the CIA, the chairman's company basically, which does all the executive work for the REIT. That includes deciding how much the top guys get paid, and the people working at Hines Global Income Trust are not really employees, meaning, again, and I quote, the compensation received by our executive officers is not paid or determined by us. And again, that's an important sign to be aware of. Time to peek at who owns what, and here it comes, insider ownership, everyone. Jeffrey Hines, the big boss, owns a notable chunk along with other inside directors. It's a good sign since it proves the big boss also has skin in the game, but they should not be the only ones. This section dives into who is sleeping with who and the too close for comfort relationships. Let's go. Our advisor again seems to be the key, being owned by the big boss. They get paid a monthly asset management fee depending on real estate value and get a performance participation in the operating partnership's total return if the REIT is a success. Again, it's good when all stakeholders are incentivized to do better. They also pay a dealer manager for selling shares with nice upfront commissions. And as if that wasn't enough, Hines gets a good slice of the profit from the general property management role. I really hope that all those roles are justified and all those stakeholders are aligned in the same outcome. Diving deeper, in a typical year, they would be making millions of dollars in property management fees, leasing commissions, and construction management fees. Those are huge numbers. Remember that if it gets lower in some periods, the situation might be evolving badly. They confirm and ensure that every related process gets reviewed by outside parties who have basically no ties to the company. In a sense, third parties must approve all those incestuous deals. They want to name the same big auditing firm as always for the next years. Standard. It's costing them $1 million per year. But again, and I quote, even if the appointment is ratified, the audit committee in its discretion may change the appointment at any time. Changes to the company charter are being proposed, apparently at the request of the Washington regulatory admin. They need to ensure they follow the guideline for REIT companies. The audit committee basically says they check the financial statements and everything seems okay. They confirm that apart from all things explained, no other item will be voted. Standard. Now what's my take? Hines Global Income Trust is run with many conflicts, but they seem on the up and up and are being checked by other external stakeholders if the key is the money going into Hines-controlled entities in the form of advising, management and other roles. It may be that the incentives are too high and that the CEO and chairman actually benefits from underperforming to get nice and comfortable fees with lower risk. I would advise to keep monitoring who the money flows to and if external stakeholders are really and truly independent. The filing gives you all the names to check do it, however's being equal, there are no huge red flags that makes my alarms ring too much. Those kind of complex companies often work like this. And again, remember that this video is not an investment advice. Always remember to do your own research. At any rate, that's our breakdown of Hines Global Income Trust's latest proxy statement. What's your take on these relationships and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description and get to know all the smart people over there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.